Morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
So I have a couple stories. As you guys know, I love stories. One is, I don't generally bring my Bible with me. I usually write everything down. But today I felt, with what we're doing today, I thought it was important for me to bring this because it goes into the story that I want to talk about. This was given to me when I was 7 years old, so it's roughly about 45 years old. And it was given to me by my mother because my mother believed that I needed to study all things, and she used to teach me about being curious.
Good mother.
And my mother.
Good mother.
And she was a good mother, and she used to say that curiosity, she said that people say curiosity killed the cat. She says curiosity helps you to go to the greatest adventure you'll ever go into, and that's to discover who you are. And so I'm going to read this Bible verse a couple times this morning, but I'm going to read it now because it goes with the white stone ceremony that we're going to be chatting about. But I'm sure most of you guys know this scripture, but I want to read it before we get started. And it says, "He who has ears, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To him who overcomes, I will give some of them hidden manna to eat. And I will give him a white stone, in the stone a new name written, which no one knows except him who receives it." We'll talk more about that throughout this morning. But I want to start off with an experience I had in 2008. And my mother used to own a house, two houses actually, on one piece of property in Gibsonton, Florida. I just moved back about 7 or 8 months from Baltimore, Maryland, where I was a chief operating officer, vice president of a mortgage company. And that was in the beginnings of all of the downfall of the mortgage industry and everything. So my income went from making very well into the 6 figures to $7 an hour. So, and I was 32 years old, and I thought I'd arrived in my life, and I thought that my title and my house and my car and everything, all my material stuff is what made me a man. And so it was about 2007, just before 2008, I was sitting in meditation in the little house that was my mother's that nobody had lived in until I came back. And I had an experience. I was in meditation, and so this is why this story is important, because I'm talking about the law of transmutation, which is a natural law. And so I had a meditation, and this presence stood behind me, and I knew what this presence was. It was Jesus. And I remember, and some of you will chuckle and some of you will cringe when I say this, but I said, "What are you doing here? I don't even like you." And he said, "I'm here to get you to learn to love yourself. Because when you learn to love yourself, you'll learn to love me." And when it happened, I was stunned. I didn't know what to say, to be quite honest with you. First of all, how many people can say they have this experience? And he said, somebody's going to be coming into your life very shortly that's going to help you and guide you. And it was my friend Virginia Drake, who had come in, literally that was October of 2007. She came into my life in January of 2008. And so I say that because I had studied every other major religion other than this book, even though this was given to me when I was 7. Because I was so angry that I thought that God hated me. And so I want to tell you that over the last year, one of the things I realized is that the path to peace and the path to transmutation is through your heart and learning to love yourself. It is the center of your temple. And there's a whole bunch of other things that are a part of that, and people will argue with me and they'll say, "Well, God's right here," and I'm like, "Yes." And they'll say, "Well, God's right here, or right here, or right here." I'm like, "Yes, God is everywhere." And there's a word in my book that people have trouble saying that my mother taught me. It's called En Lakesh, and it means I am another you. And what that means is that God is in every one of us. It's God's in everything. And when we know that God is in every one of us and God is in everything, then why are we so separated? It's because we're not in our hearts. And Very shortly after that, I had a friend of mine, her name is Dr. Carol Roberts. She said, the problem with the world is we've lost our center. Well, the center is your heart. And so, interesting enough, I want to kind of go into some other Bible scriptures that I talked about or read last night as I was preparing for this. I know usually I just fly off the cusp, but I really wanted to be prepared for this because I thought this was the beginning of 2026, I think, is a very powerful year. It not only is a powerful year in numerology, I'm not a numerologist, by the way, I find it fascinating. If you go 2, 2, and 6, it's a 10, which goes down into a 1, which means new beginnings. We are in new beginnings. That means we are at the beginning of something wonderful, or a change. So that's where you go into the law of transmutation, letting go and learning how to allow. That's what Jesus was trying to tell me. If you let go and allow, I will transform your life. More importantly, you will transform your life. So as we look at this, there's several people in the Bible that they had their names changed. Am I correct? Yeah. Abram to Abraham, which equals father of nations in Genesis 17, chapter 17, verse 5. If you take 1, 7, and 5 in numerology, that becomes a 4, which means it's about center. It's the 4 elements, the 4 corners of the earth. And so, and if you take Abraham, he was, 99 years old. 9 and 9 equals 18, which is a 9. 9 is the completion of a cycle. So where are we at? We are at a completion and the ending of a cycle. In other words, we are getting ready to change and transmute our energy into a new state of consciousness in our heart. And God was one to him. So we were at one with God. We are learning how to be at one with God in our heart. What Jesus came to teach us about being what? In the heart. Compassion, understanding, empathy. Sarah, or Sarai, her name was changed to Sarah. She was 90 years old, interesting enough. 9 plus 0 is what? 9. The completion of a cycle in Genesis 17, chapter 17, verse 15, which equals a 5, and in numerology means change. She was the mother of nations. And if you look at the divine feminine and the divine masculine and divine feminine are about balance. And about the what? That's Matthew 7, where he talks about their path gets narrow. What is the path gets narrow? It's the center of that yin and yang, that divine feminine and divine masculine, the heart. And so you start to go on, and then there's another powerful, interesting, some of these Bible verses I had even forgotten until I started studying it again. Interesting enough, when I was asked to do this presentation today, the name Jacob been popping up in my head a lot. Just Jacob, Jacob, Jacob. Don't forget about Jacob, Israel. Hey, Jacob, Jacob, Jacob. So Genesis 32, chapter 32, verse 10, and 32, verse 28, where Jacob becomes Israel. Remember, Jacob says, "I am not worthy of the least of the miracles and all the truth which you have brought to me as your servant. For I have crossed over the Jordan, and my staff, with my staff, and I have become 2 companies." So I look at a lot of Bible verses, and I look at the alchemy inside of it. And if you look at the River Jordan, a lot of people think that the River Jordan is equivalent to the Ganges River and the Indian text and stuff like that, and they believe that it is the spine in the body. So the spine is the staff inside of you. But more importantly, that is your River Jordan. Remember, Jesus was baptized in where? The River Jordan. Baptism means washing away of the old to bring in what? The new. And so what was happening? The River Jordan and the Kundalini is the awakening of you inside of yourself. How is it awakened? Through the heart. We don't change who we are by shaming ourselves, by putting ourselves down. I just had a friend that had something major happened. It was because of a mistake he made, and the first thing I said is, don't feel guilty. Look at it and learn from it and grow from it. I said, if you beat yourself up about it, you will cause more trauma in your psyche than you'll be doing any good. And if this is your temple, why would you want to clutter it with beating yourself up? There's enough of that outside in the world. Am I correct? So it's time for us we do learn from it, we grow from it. and we take those experiences, trust me, and I'm sure you guys can all relate, I've made enough mistakes in my lifetime, but I couldn't be the man I am today without those mistakes.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at that, if you're looking at a split into two companies, if I kind of look at that and go deeper into that, in Genesis 32, chapter 32, verse 30, and Jacob called this place Peniel, for I have seen God's face to face, and my life is preserved. Interesting enough, you split it into two companies. That is the yin and yang, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. More interesting that I find is the pineal is what? The pineal gland, and everybody focuses it on that, but if you actually look at that area in the body and in the brain, and it actually looks very similar to the god, or demigod, Ganesh and the Indian faith. Now, are we worshiping the demigod Ganesh? No, it's about the symbolism behind it. The symbolism, remember, Ganesh is the remover of obstacles, the blocks that prevent you from standing in your divine state, your blessed state. And how do you do that? Through the heart. The heart opens everything up because, interesting enough, the energy starts to go up, the Kundalini, and it has to get past the heart. Otherwise, remember, God cast who down into the earth and called him what? Satan, which stands for the Latin what? Enemy. So we cast the energy down into the lower energy of our body, and what do? We stuff everything down that we don't want to look at. And that's the energy. That's every time you held back. That's every time somebody told you that you were not good enough. That's every time somebody tried to disempower you, to look down on you. And every time, because it made you do what? Energetically and spiritually, it made you look in and start to what? Shame yourself. But when you stand up and you're what? The light of what? The world of God, then that energy opens up, because as the heart opens up, it allows the light to come up, and as the Egyptians, or when we think about Christos, this secretes from this area, and it lights the what? The light, or the lantern. And so, interesting enough, a friend of mine used to say, that woman, Virginia Drake, I told you about, she said, when the war inside ends, then the war outside ends. Well, what is Jacob doing? He's wrestling with what? This man all night long. And then he's what? When he finally, that war ends, then he says, you're no longer going to be known as Jacob. You're going to be known as Israel. So that's the law of transmutation. It's less about the energy. It's less about what's happening here. It's about the inner world. And then he transmuted from one state of consciousness into another state of consciousness. Now, there is no Bible verse that confirms this, but many believe that Israel is broken down into IS for the divine feminine, and RA for the divine masculine, and EL, which stands for shining one. And if you go into Michael and the different archangels, all of their names have EL in it. Am I correct? Which means shining one. And so when you start to go and break these things down, what are we doing? We are starting to look at what no longer serves us and letting that go, and we do that through the heart and the energy of the heart. And when we transmute that, and that's what I have done for the last 18 years, is I had to face myself. I had to face the war going on inside of myself, all the codependent energy, all the trying to rush to save somebody. Anybody relate to this one? When sometimes we're stealing another person's what? Lessons, their growth. I have a very close friend, and even recently I tried to go rush to save him, and I had to pause and stop myself before I did it. In quantum physics, we talk about what? We talk about being the ultimate observer. In business, we call that being proactive as opposed to being reactive. And so all these energies and these thoughts and these wisdom all cross each other. And the universe is constantly, God is always talking to you through everything and all energies, even if it's something you don't like. Because there's some form of wisdom in it. Remember, pearls and diamonds form through what?
Pressure.
Friction. Pressure. And so when we go through all the pressures that we go through in this life, that is a blessing. It doesn't feel like it's a blessing when it's happening. Well, what ends up happening is when you go into that pressure and you look at it and you look at everything you're experiencing and what you're going through, you can look back and you can say, and who can relate to this? You look back at your life. I'm getting ready to turn 52 in March, and I look back at my life and man, it's not a judgment. It's like, you really made it through all of that.
I want to be whole.
Can anybody relate to that one? All the hardships. Who's ever lost their job and not been able to figure out how I'm going to pay? Who's had savings and you thought you were secure and very shortly after it was gone because of things that have happened in your life? Who's had somebody that you love pass away and you're not sure that was your rock? That was your main person in your life, and how are you going to make it without them? We've all had these experiences, but each time it makes you stronger in who you are. And that I want you, my friends, to feel very proud of, because you are powerful, powerful, beautiful beings.
Absolutely.
And if you are a child of God, there is nothing in you that you want to look down upon.
Right.
Sure, you need to grow. There's things you're going to do that you're going to make, and I call them opportunities. Sin is not something to beat you up about.
Right.
Sin is what? Missing the mark. It means you're off balance. That's it. There is preachers that get up there and stand up there and scream that we're sinners. That's not true what they're in the context of they're talking about. We're here to learn how to balance our energy and get in our hearts and become stronger in who we are, because as they would say, we are here to become more Christ-like. Am I correct? But Christ-like is not sitting there beating yourself up. It's sitting there and honoring who you are and the experience of what you're going through, so you can get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And what ends up happening, this is science. I hate to break it to you, and I hate to break it to everybody else. The more and more you go inside to fall in love with yourself, not on a physical level, on a soulful agape level, the more and more you fall in love with yourself, the bigger your electromagnetic field gets. That is not anything that is anything other than science. They are studying that in the Center of Noetic Sciences and proving that we have an electromagnetic field. And the more and more you beat yourself up and you operate from fear, and it says what? It says you either serve fear or love. Am I correct? It also says in the Bible that we cannot serve two masters. Am I correct? So you can't serve fear and love at the same time, because that would be like putting one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas. You wouldn't be going forward. You'd be stuck. Who can relate to that one? We've all been there. And it's a blessing, because I am excited about 2026. I am excited to where we're going. And I think of all the drama and everything that we've gone through over the last several years, I think it's time for us to have a beautiful experience and an awakening experience. So I want to read this scripture one more time, because I want to talk more about it. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To him who overcomes, I will give some of the hidden manna to eat. So if you go into manna, and I'm in the Charles Fillmore's the Revealing Word, it says manna is the bread of life. The Word of God represents the realization that the divine substance is everywhere, present in every part of consciousness. Exactly what I said in the beginning. Enle Kesh. It's everywhere. Manna is the spiritual energy that we need to sustain our life. I truly believe that when we step into our divine selves, just like Jesus did when he walked out from being resurrected, what was he doing? He's full in spiritual manna. Everybody with me on that one? He was full of the truth. Truth is light. Light is shining on the darkness. And the interesting bluff, a man said to me years ago, he goes, when the lights turn on, the cockroaches run. But what if the cockroaches turned around and faced the truth within themselves? And I will give him a white stone, and on the stone a new name is written, which no one knows except him who receives it. So what I want to do this morning when we're going through the ceremony, I know most of you guys have gone through the ceremony before. I want you to meditate on, and Amanda has the stones in the back. I want you to meditate on the new wisdom that is going to come into you for 2026. And what's your new energy going to be? The reason why she has the stones in the back is because in there is a wooden heart that a friend of mine gave me, and I brought it with me today because I felt it was very powerful to put into the box where the stones are at. And the reason why is it was carved from the olive trees in Jerusalem where Jesus walked. And she gave it to me for Christmas a couple years ago because she wanted to share with me her love of Jesus. And it was given to me with all the love in the world. And so I thought that that was very powerful. And if you touch the heart, and I won't give it to the church, but if you touch the heart, and you can touch it if you would like to, you can feel the presence of the love that was there at that area. And what ended up happening, the group that does it, the branches fall, and they grab the branches and they carve these hearts out, and they send them out to people around the world. And my friend got it, and I just thought it was a very beautiful time. I couldn't find it until recently because I meditate on it on a regular basis. And I found it the other day. I haven't been feeling good because of a medication I have to take, which I'm going to be changing. I found it underneath my bed, exactly where my heart would align. So God puts things exactly where they need to be. God puts you exactly where you need to be so that your soul can grow. And what I want you to meditate on today is, what is your highest and best good? And call in the abundance of your highest and best good, because I can guarantee you, you're going to love it. And I'll let Amanda pass around whenever you're ready. And I'll keep on talking while you're doing that. So what I would like to do is just kind of set the stage while she's doing that, and you're picking out your white stones. Because I'm very honored to do this with you guys today, because I love coming to the Unity of Midtown, or the Truth Temple. Am I correct? That's what it's actually called, the temple, Unity Temple of Truth. Because the truth to me is always about what's in me. And what I will tell you about the book is I had to face for 13 years what was going on in me. I wrote a book that some of you have read called Peace Be Still. When you write a book, you have to understand that you're going to learn the lessons of what you write. When I was ordained as a minister the first time, my teacher, Ray Stasiak, and Eileen Hull said I wasn't ready. And like the young 23-year-old, I didn't think they were right. So what did I do? I went out online and I ordained myself. And Eileen and Reka said, "That's okay, honey. That's okay. We're not mad at you. God's going to teach you." And I was like, what does that mean? And when I tell you, I was one of the hardest students you will ever run across, because I was stubborn. And so years later, I was ordained again by my mother through another church. And Eileen and Reka were there because they said I was ready. But as a result of the lessons that I was taught, as I lost my job, lost my car, everything was stolen from me out of my storage locker, including a bunch of my musical instruments. I played 7 different instruments at one time. And one of them was a Gibson Les Paul guitar that a friend of mine gave us a 60s, I can't remember what year in the 60s, but it was given to me when he passed away. So I was completely heartbroken, including my grandmother's engagement ring that I was supposed to give somebody that, if I ever decided to get married. So my teacher, Virginia, said, well, one day, if that's supposed to come back around to you, it will when it's time. And I was like, yeah. How's this guitar that was stolen and pawned going to be given back to me? And this year I was teaching a class at the Temple of the Living God, and sure enough, there was a man in the class that says to me, walks up to me with a picture, and he says, "Does this guitar look like yours?" And I said, very much like it, very much like it. He goes, "Well, it is an Epiphone Les Paul, but I'm going to give it to you." Wow. And now it sits in my living room. So what goes around, comes around. And it wasn't until I was ready. And that's what I will tell you all, is that the law of transmutation is saying to you, when it's your time to transmute your energy, everything will be given to you in divine timing and divine order. And you are blessed. You are blessed. But we have to let go of the old to bring in the new. And letting go brings us freedom. All right, so what I would like everybody to do is to put their feet on the ground and start getting ready to open up to receive your new wisdom for the year, your new name or new word. And maybe while we're waiting, everybody just takes a deep breath in. And let it all out. One more deep breath in. And let it all out. And even if you haven't gotten your stone, I want you to set the intention and ask for the wisdom and the new name or word for the year. And if your mind is active, I want you to let go of all that energy that no longer serves you. I want you to ask that presence of the divine, of God within you and all around you to come in, to provide you with your new name, a word for the year. Deep breath in. Exhale out. And I want you to imagine a river of energy, of golden energy, flowing down from the heavens through the top of your head, and it is washing away all that no longer serves you and bringing it down into the earth. And that energy goes all the way back up, and it passes through your heart, all the way back up into the heavens. So this golden river flushes down from the heavens in a figure 8, passes through your heart, all the way down into the earth, and comes back up into a figure 8, and the center passes through your heart, all the way up into the heaven. So remember, 8 is infinity. So this gives you infinite energy, infinite wisdom, infinite of abundance, of healing and health, spiritual abundance, spiritual wisdom, flowing through your body at all times. So you are connected, fully connected. Deep breath in. And let it all out. As that energy is passing through you, I want you to focus in on this word or your new name. And I want you to bless it in your heart, seeing it manifest on your white stone, and that spiritual hidden manna flowing through your body, feeding your soul, and your body, and your mind. And when you are ready, I want you to say internally, to your heart and your body, I want you to say Amen. That is to close the energy when you're ready. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes, but only when you're ready. count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Everybody feel that energy? Everybody knows the light that came in the window? Wow. So, I will share with you this, and I'm sure all of you can relate, is all of us have stories of transmutation, where we've transmutated our heart from heaviness into lightness. And that's the blessing that we all have. And I am honored to share that with you today. I know that there's, Amanda, I think there's pencils for them all to write.
There should be
their name.
pencils in the pews.
Oh, there's pencils in the pews where you can write the name or word that you got. And so, many blessings, and thank you so much for allowing me to serve you today.